I bought a PlayStation Portal from Aliexpress for $40, and in this video, we're gonna unbox it, test it out, and see if it's any good. All right, guys, so here it is, and as you can tell right off the bat, pretty heavy inspiration was taken off the PlayStation Portal. It looks super similar. They actually call it the Project X, and it has like no advertisements or anything on the outside, so let's go ahead and see what's on the inside. Got this little piece here, and hold on, this actually feels decent. Wait, is glossy too? Whoa, okay. This actually looks a lot nicer than a lot of these crappy portables I've seen from AliExpress and Temu. I mean, it was $40, so like I don't expect too much from this thing. We have all our triggers in the back, R2, L2, L1, and R1. We have a, what is that, volume button, power button, our standard ports. Of course, we got A, B, X, Y on the front again instead of the standard PlayStation controls, but whatever, we expect that at this point. The analog sticks are actually decent, and they click, and dude, that's not bad. And looking on the back, it says made in China, super glossy, 2-speaker grills. But yeah, like so far, I actually am pretty impressed. Now I do want to compare to a DualSense, and you can kind of see the size comparison here. It's actually not much longer than a DualSense, and thickness-wise, it's a lot skinnier. This thing is actually pretty dang small, which I think is a good thing. And honestly, it probably has more hardware in this thing than the PlayStation Portal, considering the PlayStation Portal can only stream games. But let's go ahead and take this little screen protector thing off, and then we'll turn the console on. Now the downside is I bet this screen sucks, but let's go ahead and see. It's 3, 2, 1, power on. Oh, there it is, Project X. Dude, that screen, ooh, that screen is rough. Super dark. We do have I do like the blue LEDs here. That's a nice little touch. You know, obviously you can't see it very well in the daytime, but oh wow, we actually have a lot of games on here and a decent looking interface. Hold on, let me plug this into HDMI and see if that works. All right, guys, so we are plugged in here. I want to do one more comparison here that I forgot to do, and that's the comparison to the PS5, the GS5, and the Project X, and it's just so interesting to see the size differential, and even the PS5 Slim that I bought from Temu a while ago. We'll show the comparison here on the screen as well. Very interesting just to see the size difference there, but let's go ahead and explore this thing now. So this thing is booted up, and it looks pretty legit. We got like arcade games, Famicom games, Famicom games, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, I love how it says Game Boy, but it's got a Game Boy Advance SP on it. Even PS1 games on here, and then funny enough, we have this whole suite of apps down here, like video, music, photo, ebook, calculator, stopwatch. Here's our stopwatch, dude. It looks like an app from 1983. How do I go home? I don't want to do this. I hope I don't have to turn it all the way off to get back to the home menu. Come on, guys. But, dude. Okay, so first of all, you do actually have to completely turn it off and turn it back on to restart, which is super lame. Second of all, when I turned it off, it said bye-bye in like, I don't know, Comic Sans or something. Let me just show this to you guys again. There it is, bye-bye. That's hilarious. Something else to note is there's an SD card slot here, but it doesn't have an SD card in it, so whatever games are built into here are just built straight into the console, which is interesting. Let's go ahead and check some of these games out. Classic Nostalgia Arcade Game. Wait, was that Squirrel Fight? It's just Chip and Dale, and they call it Squirrel Fight. Oh, there we go. Okay, if you press start and select at the same time, it pulls up this menu right here, so you can save progress, load progress, setting, and I guess, yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So you can actually return to the home screen without turning it all the way off, which is nice. Now let's go ahead and check out some of these actual games here. I'm very curious about the PS1 games, and we have one game, Tekken 3. Is it just a picture? It's just .img. No, it is booting up, and it actually is running fine so far. Let's get into a game and see if it can actually play without dropping a bunch of frames. I mean, it feels a bit slow, but I can't tell if this is just because this is how the Tekken game was. I don't really see it dropping frames though, which is good. So a couple notes here about the whole Tekken thing. First of all, apparently Tekken 3 actually pushed the PS1 to its limit, so it's a pretty good benchmark test here. And second of all, it definitely is running slow, which apparently is a trade-off that some games do, where they just run slow instead of dropping frames. I watched some other gameplay, and it was definitely, the other gameplay was running faster and just not as sluggish. So this thing is definitely chugging along with Tekken 3. It is playable, but not great. So done with Tekken 3, let's go ahead and see if there's more than one game per console on this thing. Hopefully there is. GBA, we have 1,800 games. I'm sure there's some duplicates in there, because there always are. Let's check out the rest of them. Super Famicom is 4,600 games. Famiclone, 13,000 games. Let me scroll through here and see if there's some duplicates. Yep, here we are. So there's 689 unique games, and then after that it's just a bunch of duplicates, which is pretty sad. But let me boot up Super Bros here. It's not even Super Mario Bros, it's just Super Bros. Let me boot that up and see what's going on here. Yeah, so it is real, I guess, if it'll let me play. And of course it runs fine. I mean, it is an NES game, so I would hope it does. But let's go ahead and go back and explore some more of these games. Yeah, so hopping into the Capcom games, there's 11,000 games. And then Mega Drive, there were a bunch of games. And then popping into Game Boy games here, again, 10,000. And I really haven't seen that many games on this console yet that are like really highly notable games. Like there's Legend of Zelda at least. We had Super Mario Bros. Like the original one, but it's just like missing a lot of the original Mario games and stuff like that. I mean, there's some notable games here, but I would expect more of the popular games and less of the just random games. All right, I'm confused here because there's a Spider-Man 3 on the Game Boy here. It doesn't say Game Boy Advance, it says GB. Let's go ahead and boot that up and see what pops up. All right, guys, I apologize. I did check, and there actually is a Spider-Man 3 on the DMG Game Boy, which is surprising to me. I just didn't realize how many Spider-Man games there are across all of the systems over the last, 30 years. But it looks kind of crappy because it's stretched out in a widescreen. And it also, like, graphically, it's just stop. Oh, it says top 20 muggers. Okay, you can hardly see it because it's just like the colors here. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go back to the main menu. Ooh, we have some videos on here. We have 03, Video 01, and Video. Let's check these out. Is this a trailer for Bolt, like the Disney movie? What? Why? I'm so confused. Okay, let's try Video 01 now. What am I watching? Wait a second. I just got through that whole trailer, whatever they showed, of a movie I'm not familiar with, and now they're just showing random. It had a little pop-up that said finest detail, and now it's just showing random cityscapes and, I guess, big cats. Deep and natural color. This looks like it should be on an OLED TV or something. What is going on, dude? I don't understand. All right, we gotta check out the music and then see what's on here. We got Take Me to Your Heart and Sha-La-La. All right, last but not least, we gotta check out these photos here. We got some rock chip electronics. Yeah. A random girl looking at the night sky. Okay. I love that there's a folder for files and there's just no file. This thing is hilarious. Like it actually honestly has a lot of potential just like looking at it. And the form factor, it's pretty glossy. It just feels like actually pretty premium for $40. All right, so I did a few things with this console, and by that, I mean I plugged a cable in from this console to my PC and transferred some ROMs. We're gonna go and check it out and see if it works and see if we can just play some of the games I loaded up. So I'm gonna start by going to this little games tab and see what pops up. So we got internal memory, and yep, there they are. So it started out with just Dragon Ball .gba, which is randomly, and that was it. I also added Crash Bandicoot Warped for the PS1, Crash Bash, NFL 2000s, Pokemon games, Silent Hill, basically just a bunch of various games. So let's just try them out and kind of see how they run. And I'm going to start with Super Mario Advance because it's probably a good benchmark. I mean, if this game can't run Game Boy Advance games, then it's a sad device, but I think it'll be fine. But it'll be interesting to see kind of how it looks and just how it runs. I've never actually played this game, so I just assumed I could just stomp on Shy Guys, but apparently not. Well, surprisingly, the Game Boy Advance game is running fine, and I think it looks okay. The color's a little bit washed out, but that's probably just how it was. Let's go back to the main menu. I'm gonna try out some PS1 games here. So first up, we'll start with Silent Hill. It's just kind of a classic game that I test on other emulators, and the last one I tested it on, it dropped a lot of frames, so we'll see what it does here. I'm just getting started, but it's definitely not dropping frames, but it obviously looks off. Like the banding on the ground is just like, what is going on? I'm not sure why it looks like that. And the draw distance sucks. I don't remember if the draw distance is that bad in the original PS1 game. Yeah, this clearly is off. I don't know if this is a limitation of the emulator itself or maybe the ROM is bad ROM. Probably the emulator itself, but something else to notice that's interesting is that these games just booted up by themselves without me like picking an emulator. I just selected the game and it worked fine. So that's good to see. And this game works, but it's definitely off. Let's try another PS1 game now. So next up we'll do Crash Bash, which is a classic nostalgic moment for me I used to play this game all the time back when I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old. So let's try that out. All right guys, I've been playing some Crash Bash and I think the game is just running very sluggishly for whatever reason. I mean, I am on ice, so I'm sliding around a bit, but the game itself is like, you can see the countdown timer is just going very slow. Like every second is actually 2 seconds real life. And the whole game is it's kind of like Tekken earlier where it was just running very sluggish. So yeah, I'm not too confident that this emulator can handle PS1 games on this device. So basically so far I'd say like all the games run, but run well? Not really. Let's try out one more game. We'll try out Madden NFL 2000, just like, because why not? So I'm playing some Madden and I think this game is fine. Like it doesn't feel sluggish at all. The only problem is that the controls are like flipped around. I think in all the games they're flipped around, so it's hard to play when I'm used to pressing X for X and it's flipped around. But yeah, this game is fine. So we're kind of like, we're 1 for 4, 1 for 3 now. So yeah, not ideal, but not that I expected much more from a $40 device. So we've explored all the software here. Let's go ahead and tear the console apart and see what's happening on the inside. All right, so to open up this thing, it appears that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws in the back. So let's take those out and see what happens. All right, so this thing actually was a little bit difficult to open because, oh wow, of course we have cables straddling to the back where the speakers are. That's a bit annoying. But like I said, it was kind of hard to open because it had, not only had 8 screws, but it had a bunch of clips that you had to get out. Here's the battery. We actually have a reset button that I did not even notice there. There's a little tiny hole on the back here to access the reset button. And honestly, it is a little bit disappointing. The battery is soldered into place, so you can't easily replace it. I mean, you just got to open it up and resolder a new battery in, but it would be nice. I mean, even the cheaper devices I've seen, it basically has a compartment and you just swap in a new battery, which is pretty cool. But let's go ahead and take this whole board out as well. Oof. Okay, so that top piece just pops right off, and here comes the board, which is strapped into the screen there. All right, not gonna be too easy to take apart, but apparently it turned on by itself while I was messing with it. We have pretty typical like mesh pads here for your buttons. We have a few chips here, which I'll zoom in on, but we got a ATM 7051H, not gonna act like I know what that is. All right, so I did a little bit more quick research here and figured out this is a quad core SoC that's actually fairly common. Like I think it's in some arcade 1-up machines, some Neo Geo devices from the past few years. This right here is a voltage regulator. We have a 2 gigs of flash memory and 2 gigs of RAM right here. Those numbers might be slightly off because I might have mixed up a model number or something, but just the fact that I could find info about these chips on the internet is kind of a good sign, because usually these Temu and Aliexpress devices, you can't find anything about them online because it's just like a proprietary chip that they use in like some specific factory or whatever. I don't know the inner workings of that system, but thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and let me know down below what you think about this device. I think it's actually pretty decent for 40 bucks, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.